Here we are at the top of the entrance into the Earthship build project. We're going to take a trip down on this one and I'm going to show and document why that this side of the mesa is going to be abandoned for the road entrance, and this is the maintenance entrance right in here to do what we have to do for this Earthship project. We're going to need a lot of concrete, and concrete takes cement. And what we're looking at right here along this way right here is a vein of cement. It's gray, it's like Portland. And what we'll do is we'll crush this into powder so we can rebond it with sand and gravel and come up with our concrete that we're going to need in the project. That way we don't have to ship it from down below where we have an hour-and-a-half drive off of the highway into the Earthship project utilizing cement mixers. It's going to cost $160 a yard and then $10 a mile. And so it's a lot of mileage and it's a lot of things, so it's very expensive. But here we utilize the natural resources that we have. And if we, up on the top where we're working at the top, up there is the gravel pit. And where the excavation of the nursery is going to be is right up there. You can see it from here. That's the solar panel system, and below that is the nursery, and above that is the battery house. And down here is the ore deposit, so we're going to utilize for the Earthship project, because we're going to need about 500,000 yards of concrete. So 500,000 yards of concrete, and as we're excavating this cement out of here, this is where the greenhouses below the nursery are going to go. And it's going to help with the erosion control. Here on this mesa, some time ago, about 13,000 years ago or so, between probably 20,000 and 13,000 years ago, there was an encampment, a civilization of native tribals coming up from either Incan or Aztec or Mayans. And whoever was here was a rich dude. And he had built a temple here, and he had a group of people who mined this, and this is called the Little Redonda. And Little Redonda means small red stone. And these red stones are with green stones, which are jade and green agate. And the red stones are bloodstones and other types within that. And it's all jewelry grade. And also turquoise. There's a little turquoise. And then there is redwood, petrified, agatized redwood, which is jewelry quality. And on this piece of property here, there is probably, I would say, 20 to 30,000 tons worth of gemstones. And so that made it a very lucrative place for the rich dude a long time ago. And they would take and mine these stones off of this, and they would use just like I'm going to do, is use the concrete, the cement to make concrete for the houses, which are up there on the top, which were destroyed some time ago, from about 12,000 years ago or somewhere about there. Something happened and turned this into a winterland. And the people who were here went south to where they have people down there. And this one was abandoned up here for almost 1,000 years. But in that epiclude that had drove them out and then got into the ice age here, it must have been something catastrophic, either an earthquake or shift or and then there's another thing, which is the meteor just outside of here between Holbrook and slowing down oh my Lord, it's a woman slowing down with a flat-bedded Ford, Winslow, Arizona. And that meteor hit, and it probably was what set this continent into a ice age. And then we're not at the end of this ice age. We're probably in the middle of it, if you want to be perfectly honest with it. But there is a period of time right now where we're in a lull, bottom of the valley of the ice age cycle, and it's going to go back, and so it's going to be cold here, and all it's going to take is just a little nudge, and we don't know what that nudge is whether it's another electromagnetic field shift on the earth, or whether it's going to be a burp from the sun, solar flares, coronal hole ejection mass plasmas, or the sun micronova. There are so many things where we get hit by another meteor or a comet or whatever it's going to take, or mankind even brings a man-made thing in here and plays around with sun power, which is the A-bomb and then the neutron bomb. And, and all of this, which we're harnessing the great powers of the sun, which Nikola Tesla talked about. And a lot of that stuff has come out since Nikola Tesla was allowed to waste away in a hotel room, and then the FBI came in and took all of his stuff. And Donald Trump's relative was one of the ones, FBI graduate, and he was working for the FBI, and so he was one of the ones that helped get all the stuff that Nikola Tesla. But that's in the past, and they call that conspiracy theory, and it doesn't matter because the Earthship Build project isn't about that. Now, those are the political things that we know, but Earthship Build project is to have disabled veterans and veterans who don't have a home and want to still have value and still want to work and be part of the life and learn and come back from the destitution and desperation that has been given to him through the wisps of war. And all of us come back with a sort of PTSD. It depends on we're left-brained or right-brained, how we kind of take it. So, when we're working with people with heavy distress syndromes, and this is what this is for. It's a sanctuary, so people who have it can come here and get rid of it. And they come back, then they go back, either stay here and help with the project, or they go out and become citizens and become working part of the society again after losing their families, losing their jobs. And in some cases, they even try to lose their lives. And that's what we're here for, is to save those people and then show them that there's a new way and another way. And that way is here at the Earthship Build project. We're going to have a totally self-contained artificial environment system. Water, electricity, sewers returned and back into the nature here. All these trees and everything that are here, and all of the yucca and all of the Nile grass and everything that here, all the fauna here is going to stay here, but it's going to be inside a greenhouse. And then we're going to plant in between them our regular greenhouse stuff, bananas and avocados and all of those things that we're going to need to eat and be self-sufficient when whatever happens. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, but it's going to happen, and we know it because God is preparing us to do that. And so, and you can call us preppers, and you can do whatever you want and say whatever you want, but Noah was spared, and his family and the rest of them mocked it and everything else. And this, I'm not calling this an ark. It is just the Earthship Build project for disabled veterans, and it's an agricultural and scientific development center. And it's going to be built as such, and the acreage that is here is all going to be used. And with the resources that we have, the sand, the gravel, the cement, all of this gemstones that we can have, and the people can come here who are artists, and they can make those gemstones into jewelry and have a living that way. Or they come in here with building aspirations. We're going to have stage one is going to have 50 domiciles for disabled veterans to live in. And those 50, those 50 veterans are going to be of all different skills, and we're going to use those skills to build the Earthship Build project. And they're all going to be happy because they're going to be doing what they want to do. And that is recovering from what they had to do, which was a violent life. And war is hell, and there are people who can't get away from it, who need help to get over it and come back into being useful to themselves and loving themselves and loving somebody else like God. and asking of permission to be able to do things and getting it granted to you and being wealthy that way. Wisdom, understanding, and knowledge are the three greatest gifts that are given to us while we're living here on earth, and they're greater than all of the gold and silver and jewelry and jewels and everything that we have of the entire world. Can't make up for the wealth and the power that you can have when you learn what is all going on around you and what God has given you here to be able to have as a resource. And the resources are great, and people who are artistic are the ones who are the brain side that usually wants to commit suicide and wants to end it all after they've lost everything. And that's what this Earthship Build project is all about, is to save those people and give them an opportunity to utilize the gifts that God has given them. I'm not asking for much out there, just watch and share this. And so you and America and the world can see how we can take a patch of desert and turn it into a self-sustaining, pleasurable life where we have everything that we want, everything that we need, away from all political aspirations and everything else. And if there's somebody who wants to be a politician, that's fine too. They can even leave the Earthship Build project after they've recovered from all of the things that have happened to them from the virtues of war, and take that, and they can help us too, because it's the congressmen that are the purse, and they're the ones that you have to talk to about this project, and that so we can make it viable again, because we lost funding in the last political advancement of or disadvancement of whatever, because the ideals of the Earthship Build project haven't changed, just the political station. And the people who are in political station have not wanted this to happen because they didn't want the veterans to become free. They wanted them to be slaves of the drugs and everything that they use to get them off of their PTSD and their drug and alcohol addiction, and it never stops. They don't want it to stop. They want to be able to have the pharmacies, you get the money, and the veterans and the taxpayers ultimately have to pay again. And we're seeing the fraud and abuse, and it all goes all the way to the top. And those top people are congressmen and senators. And so if we have disabled veterans who come here and recover from what they're doing, and they want to be congressmen or senators or even the president of the United States, they will understand the validness of what we're doing here, and we will be able to have our grants reinstated so we can build this project. This project, stage one, is a $10 million project. I, as one individual with my meager pay that is given to me by the government for compensation for me being in the war and being disabled from it, is very little, and it's not enough. But it's through donations and grants and everything from the public, people like you who are listening to this and listening to what we're going to do. And I'm going to have to explain it to you, but see, I'm a disabled veteran. And my disability is called neuro-word blindness, which means I had a massive trauma to my brain, and it severed some neural pathways, and I can't read and I can't write, but that didn't stop me from gaining all the things that I know. And I am a very intelligent person. I can tell you that IQ-wise, it's over 190, which is very high. And I'm not putting myself on a chair to brag about that. I'm just saying that's what it is. God has compensated me for what was taken away. And now I want to give to people and to humanity what they really deserve and need, which is a sanctuary, a place to come and exist and to become with themselves one and God, and be able to go back into society and be a help to God's children, showing them the new way, because things are going to change Earth-wise, solar system-wise, galaxy-wise. We are part of it, and it all changes, and it's on a cycle. And we can't do anything about it. If you want to just get down to the brass tacks of it and all, we're parasites. Oh, that's horrible to think and say, oh, we're intelligent. No, well, we're still parasites on a living host, which is ultimately bigger than we are. We're living in a solar system which is ultimately bigger than we are, which is inside of a galaxy which is ultimately bigger than we are, which is inside a universe that is ultimately bigger than that. And we're all traveling at a speed. The Earth is rotating at between 900 on the up part and about 1,000 in the equator miles per hour. And then we are whizzing around the sun at a certain velocity, which in the sun is whizzing around out in the galaxy at a certain speed, and that galaxy is whizzing around out in the universe at a certain speed. So we are always constantly in motion, and that's what constant molecular drive or motion is all about. And that is what Einstein and Nikola Tesla was talking about. The energy that is created when mass is at a constant subdivided 2. E equals mc squared. It's a very simple law, but it's true. And we have to understand the totality of its trueness, which most of us are just stuck on this planet. And then some of us aren't even intelligent enough to know what's going on with the planet. And I'm not saying that to belittle anybody. I'm just saying that is by design, that they don't, the intelligent ones who are wealthy and taking the wealth from the ones that aren't, which that is totally true. So you have to become smart enough and intelligent enough to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, and to whom and for who you're doing it, and the reason why that person wants you to do it. That's what it's all about. Trust but verify. Understand that nothing is given to you away free except for the life that was given to you by God. And that's still not free, because you have to live on this earth and have the decision between good and evil. And you can either decide to be good or you can decide to be evil. But you can't be a stand-byer. You can't be one sitting on the post or on the bench. You have to be a participant. So either you're hot or you're cold. Either you're good or you're evil. And there are two types of man. There are good men, spiritual men, and then there's evil carnal men. And they're both equally as intelligent, except for the fact that the good, the ones who are listening to God, are more intelligent than the ones who are listening to the other side of this, which is Satan. And Satan was the greatest of all angels, the firstborn of angels. And he was so beautiful, and he was so powerful, and he was so proud of himself that that's what drove him here to this earth, which is a prison to him. He will never gain a body. He will never gain mortality or immortality, other than the fact that he will be in his prison for an eternity. And he's so upset that he wants to take that freedom of choice of that away from you. So this is the testing ground to Earth. Earth is the testing ground for all of that, to whether we're going to make the choice of good or evil. And if we choose evil, we're going to end up with Satan in an eternal death. And then if we go with God, which is good, on the other side, which is spiritual man, we will, when the body is gone, we'll have eternal spirituality, which is free, out in the heavens with our Heavenly Father. And then we'll be able to do whatever we want to do, because there is no limit, no end to the power that we can possess. The other side of it is Satan has no power except for here on earth. He can make all kinds of horrible, hateful, big, bad things happen here on earth, or good things too, to sway the people's minds. But it's only limited to here on earth, so when they die, there's no spirit there. They dwell with the earth of which they came. That is the secret to it, my friends, and that's the secret to the Earthship Build Project. We're here to help God's children understand what's going on around them and utilize it. And God will give, and God will make sure that we survive and we prosper. God bless you all. I hope this is informative, and so you can understand what the Earthship, a portion of the Earthship Build Project, is all about as we go through the next few years. Thank you, and have a most wonderful day.